because these are companies that are leading in their field, they have competitive salaries. So I would even go as far as saying that, in a market like Berlin, for example, where there's lots of startups, there's lots of digital hubs, that kind of thing. So there is a competitiveness amongst developers. But still, I would say, because cost of living is even less there, if you go to southern Germany, so we're talking Bavaria, we're talking Baden-Württemberg, those are the regions that I come from, you will have a more competitive salary just because of the standard of living is higher than I would say in Berlin. And these companies are somewhat more desperate to get good people.
Hi and welcome back. This is Jörg, which is German for George, here at Find a Job in Germany in Berlin. Today, I have a special guest with me here. This is Guido Sondern. Guido is a German entrepreneur, and he is very much involved, also working as a digital consultant with German companies. And today, we're going to talk about German companies. We're actually going to show you how German companies tick, what makes them special maybe even, and also for you to get a better understanding of the companies that you'll be finding jobs with. And this is exactly where Guido comes in, because Guido, you have had quite a share of experience already working with German companies, not just in the digital sphere, but also as part of your company that you are now the COO of. Maybe you want to introduce yourself a little, say where you're based in Germany, and also what you do.
Yes.
I'm going to hand this over to you.
Thank you very much. So is this okay? Yeah?
Yeah, perfect,
okay. Yeah, so thank you for inviting me. Love to speak about that topic with you. As you just said, my name is Guido Sondern. I help run a company in southern Germany, in Konstanz. So look at Germany all the way down south in Baden-Württemberg, which actually is one of the regions in the most the region with the most prosperity in Germany. We have lots of big companies. I think most known are companies like Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, these kind of companies, the big brands. But historically, my region had a lot of inventors. So there's lots of companies that are worldwide leaders in their field, but they might not just be known so much. But there's many companies of those. More focused a lot on hardware. And obviously now, all the digitalization that's going on, lots of them are struggling and building up digital teams, need developers to transform their products into the digital sphere.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
Yes.
So my question to you is actually, what is your take on the types of companies that you're dealing with in the region? What makes them special? Maybe you want to talk about size, you want to talk about products a little better.
Sure. Okay, so products, most of them are somewhat hardware-based and now transforming into the digital sphere. So that's what I just said, they need developers to connect their products in some way. If you look at size, I mentioned Mercedes-Benz, which is a big one, but we have lots of companies that are small scale, thinking of an international audience. Maybe people from other countries consider these companies to be small, but we're looking at companies that start maybe from 20 people up to 200, 400, still smaller sized, but leading in their fields in specific markets. Oftentimes it's somewhat of a family, so there's long-standing traditions in these companies. So that's a bit of a huge family. Is a big a group, that's very familiar with each other to work. So amongst colleagues, they're very closely tied. So that's kind of the structure. You have more smaller scale companies, very focused in the field that they're in, hardware based, now going digital. And also in smaller towns, you'd be surprised that you drive into a smaller town somewhere in the Black Forest, beautiful landscape, very nice, and suddenly you have this company that perhaps you've seen the brand even in all of the world. You've got companies like Hans Grohe, for example, in Schiltach.
They make these. They make
bathrooms. So if you ever been to a hotel in the bathroom, or if you've been at the airport to the toilet or something like that, that's what they make. And you've got all these companies. Duravit, for example, is one of those. That's, areas where I work in, but you've got all kinds of companies. And you'd be sometimes surprised that they're not just located in the big cities like Stuttgart, Munich, Berlin, but you have like very nice, beautiful towns, and they are one of the biggest employers in the region.
Perfect. Cool. So that is one major takeaway, especially from what Guido is saying. You need to understand that Germany is not just the big cities where, of course, there's jobs, but really the German economy is about those kinds of companies that he just explained.
And if I may, because these are companies that are leading in their field, they have competitive salaries. So I would even go as far as saying that, in a market like Berlin, for example, where there's lots of startups, there's lots of digital hubs, that kind of thing. So there is a competitiveness amongst developers. But still, I would say, because cost of living is even less there, if you go to southern Germany, so we're talking Bavaria, we're talking Baden-Württemberg, those are the regions that I come from, you will have a more competitive salary just because of the standard of living is higher than I would say in Berlin. And these companies are somewhat more desperate to get good people. So, big cities like Berlin, they attract a lot of attention internationally. But a smaller town like Konstanz, my place, or Schildach, these places, they are not on the international map. So they, take lots of effort to make it comfortable for their employees. So they will help you in finding nice housing. They will help you in any sense of what you can do with your spare time. And they will have a competitive salary for sure.
Oh, that's very important to know. And then adding on to that, the second takeaway really is those companies are brands which you may or may not have heard of. Hansgrohe, maybe you have heard of, right, at the airport. But then there's a lot of these highly specialized, highly focused companies which are leading in their technology, but you have never heard of them. And one thing is, I think, something you also can maybe share more light on. Why are these companies so, let me say, small? Because we have a lot of people in our program who are from India, for example. And then every once in a while, we have people in our coaching program who end up getting offers from companies where there's only 50 people working, or 80 people, or 120 people working, sometimes even just 20 people working. And then they ask us, hey, is this a legit offer? Is this serious? Is this credible? Now, what can you say about that in terms of also what the German economy is about?
So German economy is driven by something that's called Mittelstand. That's always a big topic. If you hear in the political sphere, you will hear that word. German economy is based on these smaller companies, depending on how you look at them. In the end, it's efficiency and its effectiveness. So you have a company that's only 50 people, but they produce a very specialized product, and they have delegations coming in from all over the world to buy from them, because we're talking about high-class engineering. We're talking about a quite high level of automation, precision. So what they produce is in a tendency not like this super large-scale mass production. We're talking about specialized products that are needed all over the world. So these they need expertise, they need probably time, they need just like precision. So that's why, you tend to have smaller companies which are very effective and very efficient.
Now, one question which some of the viewers we have may be wondering, if we're not talking about Berlin, if we're not talking about Munich, but we're talking about rather remote areas in southern, western Germany, what's the deal with diversity? What's the deal with, dealing with people from abroad? Are there already quite a few working in these tech departments? What would you say? Is it a process? What's your take?
I don't think there's a general answer to this one, but Germany is the German population is growing quite old. So right now we do see a big tendency that people from other countries come into Germany just to somebody has to do the work. So all of the companies all over that I've experienced so far, you have more international people working there, but obviously the language is a big issue. For developers, not so much, because most of the documentation is in English anyway. But as soon as you're client-facing, there will be some requirement to learn German. But companies will help you with that. Even official, like governments and stuff, will also help you. So it depending on what company you're looking for, but those companies probably that have the job offers in English, for example, or that are interested in inviting some of the people that are in your program, they will be open to that idea. It might be because of they already have a few guys, maybe from India, Pakistan, or even Africa, or so international people there, and they're very much interested in that. Some might do it for the first time, but maybe out of the necessity because you just need good people. That's what it is. Or maybe just because they feel like we need fresh blood, new insights. That could be interesting as well. So it kind of depends on what the people in your program are looking for. What I can say is that sometimes the Southern Germans, they're sometimes a bit of a hard nut to crack, but once you make a friend, you have them for life. So I'd say give them like a bit of a chance, because they're willing, they want to. Sometimes they fear English just a little bit, depending on if you're in a small town, not everybody will be able to speak English that fluently. But I think the companies, once you are settled in, will welcome you very much.
Thank you very much, Guido, for this really, really interesting interview. This is somebody who is really speaking from experience, and we're still really going to focus very much also in the upcoming clips really on German economy, what makes the German economy special in those kinds of companies. In any case, if you're interested in joining our personal coaching program, just go ahead, watch the video training, which you also find the link for right underneath this clip. And we're looking forward to getting to know you in a call, which you can book after having fully watched that video. Thank you very much, Guido.
Thank you.
And who knows, maybe we'll see each other again in the future for another clip.
And hope to see you.
All the best. Take care.